Join us here for 2 hours as Billy and the gang do what they do best.
Every time I start talking about boxing, a white man got to pull Rocky Marciano out their ass. Rocky Marciano was good, but compared to Joe Louis, Rocky Marciano ain't.
Hit Joe Louis's ass.
Joe Louis was 75 years old when he fought.
Huh?
What?
We're supposed to be talking boxing.
It's Talking Boxing with Billy C.
All the excitement of the Hunger Games, minus the dead children. This is the Talkin' Boxing with Billy C show.
Talkin' Boxing with Billy C.
Now let's dig into our archives and hear a rare interview when Billy C first became the champion of boxing talk radio. Hello, Billy C. As the new champ, can we ask you a few questions?
Why, certainly.
Okay, your fans would like to know how you and your corner have successfully walloped the competition.
We're not ordinary people. We're morons.
Anything else?
I'm a victim of circumstance.
Did your success finally come when you made the show 5 days a week for 2 hours? What do you think?
I'm trying to think, but nothing happens.
Now, please tell the listeners what you've learned from making it this far.
Certainly. If at first you don't succeed, keep on sucking till you do succeed.
Great words of wisdom, Billy C. Keep up the great work as the undisputed People's Champion with your show, Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. Any last words to anyone who's listening?
This is your fault, you bonehead.
And we're back. You're listening to the Talking Boxing with Billy C show. Glad you could join us. Don't forget, if you're looking for the best Italian food around, check out Sal's Neighborhood Pizzeria and Restaurante. You can drool over his food by visiting the website, www.salsneighborhoodpizzeria.com. Or you can give him a call, 912-268-2328. That's 912-268-2328. Today's show is also being brought to you in part by my book, Tom Molyneux, From Bondage to Baddest Man on the Planet. You can get it right now. That's right, right now on Amazon.com or BarnesandNoble.com. And I just mentioned Sal Sinicola. He's in the acknowledgments, man. He's in the acknowledgments, so get yourself a copy today. And speaking of acknowledgments and Sal Sinicola, joining us right now is Sal Rocky Sinicola. What's up, Rocky?
Hey, buddy, I'll acknowledge that. How are you?
What's going on, man? Big fight this weekend. It must have made you think you were back in the day, huh? I mean, Leo Santa Cruz against Abner Mares. If that's not an example of a throwback fight, I don't know what is.
Let me tell you, you said it right on. That was an example of a great throwback fight. You know, to see these guys come at it, both of them wanted to win. Both of them had the heart. Both of them had desire. Both of them had conditioning. I think they threw close to 1,000 punches each. That was amazing. They threw more punches than you have seen in past fights over the last couple of years. They really, really did a great job, great exchanges. And, you know, I respect it. I saw how Mares, you know, he wanted to accept Santa Cruz real fast. You know, and Santa Cruz being the undefeated fighter, and he wanted to see if that undefeated status was made of fluff or the stuff. Well, I guess what? Santa Cruz, by the third or fourth round, started to take the fight more towards Mares, and he definitely delivered with the stuff. And there was not too much fluff between any of those fighters. They were both very good fighters. And I was very glad to see that kind of caliber of fighting taking place. And I just hope we could see more of it.
You know, Leo Santa Cruz, to me, he showed a lot of, I don't know if it's maturity, ring generalship, or a combination of both or what, to weather that storm from Abner Mares and stay calm, cool, and collective. You know, he didn't get out of his game plan. He listened to his corner, his father. They modified the game plan exactly how it should have been, and he started to utilize what he had as a big-time advantage over Mares, which was his height and his reach. And, you know, people have been saying, oh, that's not boxing, that's barroom brawling and everything. But I don't know, Sal. To me, that is boxing. I saw guys that were standing toe-to-toe, but they were avoiding punches. How do you miss a guy that you're 3 inches away? To me, that's good defense. When I'm trying to land a punch on you, I'm 3-6 inches away from you, and I can't hit you. To me, that's good defense, brother.
Great defense. And let me tell you something. You said it right there. Santa Cruz, he displayed a maturity level at his young stage of his career that was definitely one to be reckoned with, because he stayed cool, calm, and collected in those early rounds when Mares was pursuing him and showing that, hey, he's here to fight. He's going to take the fight to Santa Cruz. So I was very impressed with his maturity and his ability to keep cool, calm, and collected under pressure. And, it reminded me, it did, when I fought with the All-Army boxing team. We had a drill. We would stand toe-to-toe, and we would alternate for 30-second intervals. One guy having to stand toe-to-toe, trying to hit and get through the defense of the other guy while he's just trying to block all the punches in the arsenal. We couldn't move. We stood toe-to-toe. Then the same thing. Then the other guy would, after 30 seconds, would go and try to hit the guy in front of him. And you have to do your defensive move. And then, after that, for 1 minute, you do a drill of, hey, guess what? Just even exchanges. Let's stand in the pocket, toe-to-toe, fire the gun, see what you could slip, see what you could block. But guess what? They were great training methods. And inside fighting, I love it. And how could someone say it's not boxing? It sure is boxing. The boxing is the art of hitting, striking, and not being hit. And you know what? You could see all forms of boxing taking place. And yes, some of them are fights, some of them are brawls, some of them are really different from the term boxing. But if you look like a boxing, you got to give credit. Mayweather does a great display of boxing. He tries to not get hit, and he moves, and he avoids being hit, and he strikes where he can. However, this also has to have a facet and reality of being considered a true boxing, because you have these guys toe-to-toe and looking at them move and hit and slip the punches, block the punches, yet score on their opponent. And they did a great display of that. And, we used to call it jockeying for position. I used to love to get inside on my opponents and feel their strength. And I had a wrestling background in high school, Billy, and I did very, very well. I had a couple full scholarships, and I went undefeated through most of my career. And I learned in boxing I could still utilize some of my wrestling moves and my positioning just to test the strength and see how I'm, it's almost like reeling in a big fish. How tired am I getting my fish or my opponent? Now it's getting easier. And also, how much energy can I let him expand or extend on the inside fight? Let him try to push me, keep me off him, and wrestle and do this stuff in a subtle way, because you always got it broken up by these referees, too.
Abner Mares has gone through several trainers in his pro career. And, he was alluding to the fact that, his corner changed the game plan. And it was almost like an excuse that didn't quite come out the way I think he was alluding to. My question to you is, by staying with the same trainer and getting into a fight like that, something that you may be able to relate to directly, Sal, because, you're not exactly a tall guy, and you were fighting a lot of guys that you were giving up height and reach to, similar to what Abner Mares was giving up to Santa Cruz. If he was in there with a trainer, if a guy that, had been working with Abner Mares for a long time and they knew each other, assuming that was the case like it was in your career, what adjustments could have Abner Mares made to maybe change the tide on this fight and would have come out with the W instead of the way the outcome came? We both agree that, Leo Santa Cruz was calm, cool, and collective for the first couple of rounds, then kind of took over the fight. And in my opinion, by the 8th round, Abner Mares was beaten mentally and physically. He started really showing the signs of a beaten. What could he have done to keep the fight in his favor?
Wow, you just hit a lot of emotions right there, because that's exactly what a long fight like that is all about. You have to stay not only in the pocket and within striking distance, but you also have to keep mentally tough and in the fight. And sometimes you let the demons creep up inside your mind. You ever let that shadow of doubt or shadow of indecision take over, your whole game plan just went off track, and now you have to try to get back on before you get derailed permanently by a knockout. And Mares, I always fought taller opponents, and I love it. You know, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. I always did very, very well against tall opponents with a longer reach because I was always moving. I was always cutting the ring off. I was always feinting. I could throw a fake jab and go to the body. I could move. I was very quick on my feet, and I loved fighting tall opponents. And I would always go for the body. And I remember a lot of my early training and a lot of my good trainers. I remember working with Richie Giacchetti or Johnny Torres, you know, and some of these guys, and even Ali Stoltz way back when, early schooling in Gleason's gym in New York. You know, I was always a body puncher, and I always had a taller opponent. And they would always say, hey, Sal, you know, you could go for the chin, you could feint up there, you could do this, and slip under here and go there. And you know, the whole thing, Billy, is just what you said, keeping your mind, keeping your head in the fight. And, you know, listening to the corner, you have to have confidence. You have to have confidence in your cornermen. Because they may see things that you can't see. They're going to see a different perspective of the fight that you're in the middle of it. You're in the heat of the battle. So they may see something that you cannot see. And if they're able to articulate that, you can understand it, and you could make it your own, and you could definitely turn the fight around within the instruction period and time to execute it. And that's exactly what a lot of good fighters and good trainers, when they have that communication, they're able to pull off and do. And I loved it. I had confidence when I had Richie Giacchetti in my corner, or I had Don Turner. Don Turner was one of my greatest trainers. I love Don Turner. You know, these guys, you have confidence in them. I knew Mike Tyson. When I saw Mike Tyson fight Buster Douglas that night, I was with my buddy Leon Steinberg in his living room watching the fight live. I called that fight. I said, Leon, guess what? Tyson's going to lose tonight. And sure enough, I knew because Tyson had a bubblegum chewing corner at the time. I don't know who was in his corner, but it wasn't the professionals that he needed to help him with the confidence level that Mike goes in that ring every time to destroy his opponent. But neither here or there, Billy, you have a good corner. You have an opponent, whether he's tall or shorter. Yeah, I think Mares could have looked to do a little bit more with feinting, a little bit more staying on the body, because the first, second, even third round, he brought the fight to Santa Cruz, and Santa Cruz was very cool, calm, and collected. And then Cruz came back on and started taking the fight to Mares. And Mares could have maybe gone backwards, the sidestep, lure him in, the counterpunch. He could have done a little bit more, but you know, still it was a great fight. But I think somewhere in that middle of that, to the end of the fight, he lost his fire. He lost something. There was a little indecision that may have popped up, or like saying, "Hey, you know, I'm not feeling like I have what it takes to win and beat this guy tonight." And from then on, the momentum definitely started shifting more and more into Cruz's favor, and that was the end. That was it.
Well, you know, I give Mares credit because he was listening to what his corner was saying. Like you said earlier, you know, you gotta respect them. You know, they may see something that you don't. And you know, to Mares' credit also, you know, he tried to stay in the pocket. The weakness that I see Leo Santa Cruz having is that he doesn't have that knockout punch. You know, he's got an accumulation knockout. He breaks you down and knocks you out, you know, over the course of a fight. He clearly has a lot of knockouts on his record, but you know, Mares was able to avoid that with subtle movement and stuff. They're talking about a rematch. This is another thing to me that should come back to the sport of boxing. Rematches were common back in the day. You know, way before your time. I mean, rematches were common. I mean, they used to always be a trilogy. You know, I fight you in your neighborhood, you fight me in my neighborhood, then we have a third fight in a neutral place. You know, and it was always something that fans looked forward to. They related to it. They wanted to see if there was going to be any difference. It seems like we're away from that today in boxing. This is the type of fight, in my opinion, Sal, that we should see a rematch. I mean, we got two Mexican warriors fighting Mexican style in front of Mexican fans in a hometown they both live in. You know, I mean, they had 15,000 people at the Staples Center. I mean, why wouldn't they want to have a rematch?
No, you know what? I would want a rematch. I would want to look at that fight. I enjoy it. There's very few fighters that I see that I said I would not want to ever see fight again. One of them was Mayorga. But I'll tell you what, when I saw Maris and Cruz, I would definitely want to see those two guys fight again. And I can tell you this. Maris, yeah, he did listen to his corner. And Maris is capable of staying in the pocket. And Maris is capable of putting an offense together. And they could fight. They could probably fight 3 or 4 times. And you know what? Maris will win one of those fights. I know that. I could bet on that.
Yeah. You know,
I think. Yeah, I could definitely see it be warranted. And if they were to fight, it's like, hey, remember the old days? You had Jake LaMotta and Sugar Ray Robinson. Would they fight 6 times?
Yeah.
Yeah, and but they were wars, and they were exciting. They were good, entertaining fights, and that's part of what we forget about the fact. You and I discussed this earlier, Billy. Fighting also provides great entertainment. That's why during the Great Depression, that's what happened. These guys would fight for $5, try to kill each other, and guess what? It provided people with a way of forgetting about the situation they were in, and they would have entertainment. The same thing today. You know what? We haven't seen that many good fights today that we can say, hey, guess what? That was entertaining. But they're starting to come back. I love the fight we saw with Huck and Kowalski. That was a great, entertaining fight. And the Santa Cruz and Maris fight was an entertaining fight. And I would love to see a fight again between these two warriors. And like I said, I would bet if there were 5 fights between them, I'm not saying we should stretch it out, no. But I would see Maris winning a fight or 2 in there in that mix.
You know, historically, you're 100% right. When the economy is doing poorly, boxing has always done its best. And, you know, I read a lot of theories on that. And you know, if people are counting their pennies so that they can eat, and, you know, they decide that they want to buy a ticket to a boxing event, I think, you know, the connection is, you know, you go out for a night of entertainment and, you know, you're kind of getting your own frustration out by watching 2 guys get beat the hell out of each other. I don't know, but throughout the history, I mean, every time this, especially United States, but even so with other countries, anytime that they're in, you know, a bad financial state, boxing seems to thrive.
Yes. And you know what? That is so true. And maybe it has some correlation with what I just said, because, you know, you look at it, how many people are true fight fans, and surely all the guys in your chat room and the fan base you have is phenomenal. That's great. And these are people in your corner, Billy. They're knowledgeable, good fight fans. They know the game. And yes, I think, you know, an entertaining fight, it helps people. First of all, people come there, they identify. If they're good fans of the fight game, they maybe pick up one of the fighters there, and they say, hey, this is my guy. They can almost live vicariously through them. You see how some people move in his hands, like they're going to slip a punch or throw a right hand. Yep. It's like, okay, now you see it, now you don't. People feel the connection, and they love their fighters. They want to love their warriors, and they're going to be in their corners, and they want to root them through thick or thin. And it does provide great entertainment. And at what cost? But I mean, it's just it's a great thing. That's why boxing, it always had its ups and downs as far as popularity. It's always had its strides. It always had its setbacks. It always had its times of flourishing. And I think we have been right now coming out of a dry spout, if you will. I'm hoping we're going to see a resurgence of some of the popularity of boxing. I'm not a real big MMA fan, you know that. One, I don't really follow it. That's enough to really understand it. But I just love the old squared circle, Billy. I just love the art of the Marcus of Queensberry rules and fighting and conditioning and trying to be the best fighter you can be and the best champion of the world. I mean that's what it's all about. That's how it started, and that's how one day it'll finish. I mean, it's what fighting's all about.
We got some good fights coming up. Definitely that are going to be action-packed. A couple of pay-per-views. We got Triple G and David Lemieux. We have the Cotto Canelo fight coming in the fall. Even in the heavyweight division, Klitschko and Tyson Fury. And, of course, Floyd Mayweather is fighting again to try and tie Rocky Marciano's record. It's actually upon us. It's a week. No, next week. It's a week from this Saturday. So Now that fight, Floyd is Floyd. Floyd is better than everyone else in his weight division. And Andre Berto was a former world champion, and he's a power puncher. I mean, this is a guy that definitely possesses power. And people that are planning on watching that fight, they're hoping that Andre Berto can muster up. He is an athletic kind of a guy. He's been in with bigger and stronger fighters than Floyd, and I think there's a lot of people that are just hoping that Andre Berto can muscle Floyd and land some punches. What's your early thoughts on that one?
Well, I'm going to have more comments to say probably next week. I'm learning a little bit more about Berto as we go along, and yeah, he might be strong. He might be able to rise to the occasion, and like I was saying early on, any given night, a fighter could have an off night, and a fighter could rise to the occasion and possibly beat a fighter that he's an underdog with, and this certainly can happen. And whether Berto has a puncher's chance or whether Floyd's off, so that's part of the excitement and anticipation. You might see, because on paper it looks like Floyd's going to have his tying Rocky Marciano's win record. And by the way, Billy, we should take a moment just to say, I believe today may be the day that marks about 50 years. Correct me if I'm wrong. That Rocky Marciano died in a plane crash.
Well, actually,
I saw something about that earlier. I think today is the day that marks that date, that fatal date for Marciano.
Actually, I think it was yesterday that he died. Today is actually his birthday. He was born on this day back in 1923,
okay.
And he had died.
Thanks for the clarification.
He had died. He had died the day before his birthday. Actually, unless I'm wrong, unless he died on his birthday, which I thought he did.
No, I don't think he did. I think he
was on his way home.
Before his birthday.
Yeah, because he was on his way home to his birthday party. I think So. Anyway, yeah, and Floyd, says he's going to retire. I don't think so. You heard me predict it at your event when we had the Mayweather Pacquiao event, and I said no, that they will fight again, and I still believe that they will. And time will tell. First, Floyd's got to get by Andre Berto.
Yeah, and I think you know what you said that prediction that very night. We saw Pacquiao and Mayweather. And to this day, it's coming all to fruition, what you stated. And we'll see what happens after the fight next week, and if it continues to follow the path of what you predicted. And I believe you're right. My money's on you. How's that?
Well, I don't know what the odds are on me with that is, but in any event. Well, I'll be looking forward to that for sure, and I know this weekend we got a couple of fights coming up. Next week, I think my schedule is going to be a little crazy as we get ready for the Mayweather Berto fight, and then the boxing schedule really gets interesting with some of these fights that I was talking about. I mean, some big fights that have some meaning, and I think it's all relative. I think boxing is in a resurgence. There's several movies coming out, and with the release of my book, I'm hoping that maybe I can get in the mix with a movie on my guy. And my next book, it's going to be about you. We were just talking about that in the chat room. Everybody's giving us ideas for the cover, and anywhere
that's
from
great.
You holding a pizza and me holding a lasagna. I don't know what they're talking about.
Absolutely, with a pair of box gloves around my collar.
But
unbelievable.
But hopefully I'll be getting my Sal Senecola fix sooner than later. So
I sure hope so, Billy. I think like I said, right now it looks all points are looking good to possibly have that fight take place down here on our screen. And I spoke to a couple of powers. I got to give a call tomorrow. Very important phone call, and I think that'll definitely solidify whether we're going to do it or not. But I think it looks pretty good, and I'll probably find out tomorrow for sure. And boy, I'll say I can't wait to cook you a good pizza. I got a new one for you. I want you to try.
Yeah, well, you know me. I'm a plain Jane, man. I like the plains, but when I come there, I love the sampling system that you have for me. You got to roll me out of there, But it is what it is, my man. But listen,
hey, I invented something last week. It was by accident, so I'm going to tell you about it. I'll show it to you. I invented it. I'm trying to think what I'm going to call it. Let me show you what I invented.
Hey, did you ever hear? Did you ever hear of chicken agarots?
The who?
It's called chicken agarots. It's
really, I can't say I have.
It's like a spicy. It's like a sautéed, real thin chicken cutlet, and it's like in like kind of a spicy red sauce. Not like a Fra Diablo, but maybe something in between. I got to. This is Talking Cooking with Billy C. and Sal Senecola.
With Billy C. and Sal C. Sally C. and Billy C. Forget about it.
Sal and Billy C.
Prepare some recipes at that point.
Yeah. But anyway, well, listen, I'll give you a call in a little while. Actually, we're probably going to be getting out of here a little early tonight, but I appreciate your insight and some great analogies you gave on a fight that was similar to your style, man. And I couldn't help but think of Rocky Senecola when I was watching Leo Santa Cruz and Abner Mares this past weekend, my man.
Great fighters, and that was great. And I love to see both those guys. I would like to see it again. I would like to see that fight again.
Well,
great competition.
Hopefully we'll see a rematch.
Billy, as always, I do want to say thank you for all your loyal fans and friends listening and some of the people that we have out there. I really do appreciate the opportunity being on your show, and I look for a nice continued of what we have to talk about for all this week. I'm going to look at these fights this weekend, and we'll go from there, my friend.
Sounds good, brother. I'll talk to you later.
Take care, brother. Thank you. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
That's my man Sal Rocky Senecola giving his thoughts on a fight that, if you've never seen Sal fight, there's plenty of footage. You can actually go to his website, www.salsenecola.com, and check out some footage of him and, of course, the historical fight, his comeback fight that he set the Guinness Book of World Records. But when you watch some of his earlier fights, and even if you punch him up under BoxRec, you will see that his style was very similar to what we saw on Saturday between Abner Mares and Leo Santa Cruz. And he was the first guy that popped into my mind. And then a couple of guys that he's actually good friends with that I hope I get to see soon. Boom Boom Mancini and Vinny Pazienza, both similar in style to Sal and Leo Santa Cruz and Abner Mares. Hey, listen, I'm going to take a short break. When I come back, looks like we're going to maybe leave a little early today.
Talking